Welcome back to the channel, basketball fans. Today, we are diving into what can only be described as a monumental, landscape-shifting day in the National Basketball Association. The tectonic plates of the league have just shifted underneath our very feet, and the shockwaves are being felt from the sun-drenched beaches of South Florida all the way to the chilly, passionate courts of Toronto and back across the continent to the glaring lights of Los Angeles. If you thought this mid-July offseason was going to settle down into a quiet lull, you were sorely, profoundly mistaken. We have breaking news that will redefine the upcoming season, all to the balance of power in both the Eastern and Western conferences, and write incredible new chapters in the legacies of three distinct, highly impactful players. We are talking about blockbuster moves, emotional homecomings, and calculated strategic acquisitions that will have analysts, fans, and front offices buzzing for foreseeable future. The headlines are blazing across every sports network and social media feed as we speak, and I am here to break down every single angle of it. First, Russell Westbrook, the undisputed triple-double king, the relentless force of nature, is taking his ferocious talents to the Miami Heat. Second, in a move that feels scripted by Hollywood screenwriters, DeMar DeRozan is returning to Toronto Raptors, coming back to the city that raised him, the franchise he helped build, for a reunion that is already bringing tears to the eyes of the Canadian faithful after his recent release from the Sacramento Kings. And finally, the Los Angeles Clippers are making a massive, forward-thinking splash by securing the signature of rising star Peyton Watson, snatching him away from a crowded field of suitors in a highly contested restricted free agency sweepstakes to anchor their defensive future. Let's just take a long moment to process the sheer magnitude of these three separate, yet equally fascinating storylines. The NBA is a league driven by narrative just as much as it is driven by sheer athletic talent. And today, the narrative gods have delivered an absolute masterpiece. You have Russell Westbrook, a future Hall of Famer whose recent stops have been scrutinized under an unforgiving microscope, finally aligning with a franchise whose very identity, the legendary Heat culture, mirrors his own unparalleled intensity, grit, and tireless work ethic. Can Pat Riley and Eric Spoelstra harness that chaotic, overwhelming energy into a championship formula that pushes Miami back to the top of the East? Then you have DeMar DeRozan, the man who poured his heart and soul into the Toronto Raptors for nearly a decade, who famously proclaimed his loyalty when others left for warmer climates, only to be traded away in a blockbuster move that ultimately brought Toronto a championship, but left a lingering, undeniable sense of unfinished emotional business. His return is not just a free agency signing. It is a restoration of a legacy. It is the closing of a circle, a chance for one of the most beloved figures in Canadian sports history to don that iconic jersey once again and guide a new generation of Raptors players. And we cannot overlook the strategic brilliance unfolding in Los Angeles, where the Clippers have successfully navigated a highly complex, competitive market to acquire Peyton Watson from the Denver Nuggets. While Westbrook and DeRozan bring the massive star power and the romantic legacy storylines, the Watson signing is the exact kind of razor-sharp, calculated, forward-thinking basketball move that wins playoff series and solidifies dynasties. Watson represents the absolute modern NBA prototype. He is long, athletic, defensively versatile, and rapidly expands his offensive repertoire. The Clippers have recognized this upward trajectory and have positioned themselves aggressively to capitalize on his prime years. Each of these moves carries enormous weight. They are not isolated incidents. They are heavy dominoes falling in a complex sequence that will force rival executives to scramble, adjust, and completely rethink their own blueprints for contention in the upcoming season. As we unpack these developments today, we have to look far beyond the initial shock value that is dominating the timeline. We have analyzed the roster fit, the financial implications, the delicate locker room dynamics, and the actual on-court product. How does Westbrook fit next to the established hierarchy of Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo? What is DeRozan's exact role alongside the ascending superstar talent of Scottie Barnes? How does Peyton Watson fundamentally change the defensive ceiling and rotational flexibility of the Clippers? In this exhaustive, detailed breakdown, we are going to leave no stone unturned. We will dissect the tactical nuances of Westbrook integrating into the Heat's notoriously demanding, physically exhausting system. We will explore the deep emotional resonance and the practical on-court impact of DeRozan's return to the North, And we will deeply analyze why Peyton Watson was the ultimate missing piece the Clippers were so desperate to acquire, outbidding formidable rivals like the Milwaukee Bucks and Atlanta Hawks in the process. Grab a seat, get comfortable, and prepare for a deep dive into a day that will forever be remembered in the annals of NBA offseason history. The landscape has officially changed, the battle lines have been redrawn, and the upcoming season just became infinitely more compelling. Let us begin this comprehensive analysis by heading straight to South Beach. Russell Westbrook in a Miami Heat uniform. Just saying out loud feels like something out of basketball fever dream. Yet the more you think about it, the more it makes a twisted, brilliant kind of sense. Throughout his long, illustrious, and highly debated career, Westbrook has been a polarizing figure. His relentless motor, his breathtaking athleticism, and his sheer determination are undeniable and universally respected. He plays every single possession as of his life, and the lives of everyone he loves depends on it. However, finding the right ecosystem for that specific level of intensity, especially in the latter stages of his career as his athleticism naturally wanes, has proven to be a monumental challenge. We have seen the heavily publicized experiments in Houston and Washington, his rocky tenure with the Los Angeles Lakers, his redemption arc with the Clippers, his role-playing days in Denver, and most recently, his stint with the Sacramento Kings. Now he arrives in Miami, a destination that might just be the ultimate crucible for his unique set of talents. The Miami Heat are not just a standard basketball team. They are a rigid institution built on a very specific, uncompromising ethos. Heat culture is not just a marketing slogan. It is about absolute conditioning, extreme defensive accountability, and a collective willingness to sacrifice individual statistics for the greater good of the team. It is a system designed from the top down by the legendary Pat Riley and meticulously, flawlessly executed by head coach Erik Spoelstra. When you examine Westbrook's basketball DNA, the sheer work ethic is a match made in basketball heaven. Nobody in the history of this league has ever questioned Russell Westbrook's heart, his drive, or his commitment to the daily grind. The prominent questions have always surrounded his offensive efficiency, his shot selection, and his ability to seamlessly fit into a highly structured offensive scheme. But Erik Spoelstra is a master tactician, arguably the greatest problem solver and rotational manager in modern coaching. If anyone on the planet can figure out how to maximize Westbrook's incredible downhill pressure, his phenomenal rebounding for a guard, and his aggressive playmaking, all while minimizing the erratic decision-making and untimely turnovers, it is Spoelstra. Imagine a playoff rotation featuring Russell Westbrook, Jimmy Butler, and Bam Adebayo. The sheer toughness, the overwhelming physicality, the defensive switchability across all positions. It is a terrifying prospect for opposing teams who rely on finesse. Westbrook will not be asked to carry the franchise in Miami. Those days are behind him. Instead, he will be asked to inject blistering pace, to aggressively attack the rim when the half-court offense stagnates, and to bring that ferocious, unyielding competitive fire to a team that famously thrives in the mud and the grit of postseason basketball. This could blossom into the perfect symbiotic relationship, where the Miami Heat provide the rigid structure and accountability Westbrook desperately needs at this stage of his career, and Westbrook provides a chaotic, unpredictable energy that can break stagnant games wide open when the Heat's offense historically bogs down. It is a massive gamble by Pat Riley, but it is exactly the type of high-risk, high-reward move that has defined his Hall of Fame executive career. Now, let us shift our focus north of the border, to a story that transcends the sport itself and taps directly into the heartstrings of basketball fans everywhere. The Toronto Raptors are officially bringing DeMar DeRozan home. This is a moment that feels significantly larger than basketball. DeRozan's original tenure in Toronto is the stuff of absolute legend. He was a young player who embraced the city of Toronto and the country of Canada, when others saw it merely as a temporary stepping stone. He built a winning, resilient culture alongside his best friend Kyle Lowry, transforming the Raptors from a league afterthought into a perennial, formidable playoff contender. The controversial trade that sent him to the San Antonio Spurs in exchange for Kawhi Leonard was undoubtedly successful from a purely objective standpoint, yielding a historic, unforgettable championship for the franchise, but it left a deep, complex emotional scar on the organization and its fiercely loyal fan base. DeRozan was viewed as the tragic collateral damage in the cold, calculated pursuit of ultimate glory. Now, After highly productive, incredibly professional stints with the Spurs, the Chicago Bulls, and most recently the Sacramento Kings, DeRozan returns to the Scotiabank Arena. He was just waived by the Kings in a massive salary cap relief move this July, freeing him up to become one of the most sought-after veteran free agents on the open market. He could have gone ring-chasing on a veteran minimum with any top-tier contender, but instead, he chose Toronto. He returns not as a young franchise savior expected to carry the entire offensive load, but as a revered elder statesman, a returning hero coming back to finish what he started. From a strict basketball perspective, the fit is incredibly intriguing and functional. The Raptors are currently in a pivotal transitional phase, heavily focused on building around the dynamic, multifaceted, rising superstar talent of Scottie Barnes. Adding DeMar DeRozan to this youthful mix provides Toronto with an elite mid-range scorer, a proven clutch performer who is completely unfazed by late-game pressure, and an invaluable, battle-tested mentor. DeRozan's incredibly high basketball IQ, his exceptional textbook footwork, his uncanny ability to draw fouls, and his masterful control of the game's tempo are rare skills that simply cannot be taught overnight. He can effectively close out tight games, take the immense scoring pressure off Barnes in suffocating half-court situations, and provide a much-needed stabilizing veteran presence in a locker room that is still learning how to consistently win at the highest level. But beyond the X's and O's, beyond the shot charts and the advanced analytics, this signing is entirely about legacy. It is about a franchise taking the time to acknowledge its roots and giving one of its most important, foundational historical figures the precious opportunity to write a final, beautiful chapter exactly where his journey began. The reception DeMar DeRozan will receive on opening night in Toronto, the moment his name is announced over the public address system, will undoubtedly go down as one of the most emotional, spine-tingling, tear-jerking moments in recent NBA history. It serves as a beautiful reminder that sports, at their absolute core, are about genuine human connection, unwavering loyalty, and the pursuit of redemption. And then we must pivot to the highly competitive Western Conference, where the Los Angeles Clippers have executed an absolute masterstroke by securing Peyton Watson. While the casual fan might naturally be more captivated by the household, recognizable names of Russell Westbrook and DeMar DeRozan, basketball purists, scouts, and rival front office executives know perfectly well that the Clippers have just secured a massive, franchise-altering victory. Peyton Watson is the absolute prototypical modern NBA wing. Coming off a true breakout season with the Denver Nuggets, where he averaged nearly 15 points and shot over 41% from three-point range, Watson has definitively demonstrated a tantalizing, rare combination of elite physical length, explosive athleticism, and highly disruptive, game-changing perimeter defense. He is the exact kind of versatile, modern forward who can comfortably switch across multiple positions, legally harass the opposing team's best offensive player, and consistently create chaos in passing lanes. The Los Angeles Clippers have been desperately searching for a major injection of youth, elite defensive versatility, and genuine upside to complement their aging, star-studded core, and Peyton Watson fits that specific description perfectly. What makes this acquisition so incredibly significant is the fiercely competitive market the Clippers had to expertly navigate. With major teams like the Milwaukee Bucks and the Atlanta Hawks aggressively pursuing Watson in recent weeks via sign-and-trade scenarios, Los Angeles had to demonstrate both a massive financial commitment and a highly compelling, tangible vision for his long-term role. By bringing him in and successfully prying him away from the Nuggets, the Clippers are essentially bridging the critical gap between their current win-now championship window and their long-term future. Watson's offensive game is rapidly expanding before our very eyes. His three-point shooting mechanics have shown marked, sustainable improvement, and his confidence in aggressively attacking closeouts and finishing at the rim is growing by the day. Under the incredibly bright lights of Los Angeles, and within a system that desperately needs a specific skill set, Watson will have a prime opportunity to solidify himself as a premier, elite two-way player in this league. He provides the Clippers with the necessary athletic rim protection and the switchable, relentless perimeter defense that is absolutely essential for navigating the grueling, unforgiving gauntlet of the Western Conference playoffs. This calculated move loudly signals that the Clippers are not just blindly thinking about next season, but are actively, intelligently investing in sustainable, long-term success, ensuring they remain a terrifying force for years to come. As we zoom out and attempt to look at the broader, league-wide picture. The sheer gravity and the massive implications of these three transactions cannot be overstated. We are witnessing a fascinating real-time intersection of varying franchise philosophies and team-building strategies. The Miami Heat are aggressively betting on their renowned, ironclad culture to mold a highly combustible, legendary talent in Russell Westbrook into a crucial, specialized championship piece. The Toronto Raptors are delicately balancing the deep emotional resonance of a historic homecoming with a highly practical need for veteran leadership and half-court scoring stability by bringing back their prodigal son, DeMar DeRozan. And the Los Angeles Clippers are demonstrating incredibly sharp, forward-looking front office acumen by outmaneuvering heavily armed rival contenders to secure the incredibly promising, versatile two-way potential of Peyton Watson. These massive moves will have immediate, profound, and far-reaching ripple effects across the entire league landscape. In the Eastern Conference, the Miami Heat have just become exponentially more unpredictable and significantly more dangerous, adding a chaotic, high-energy element to their already formidable, defensive-minded structure. The Toronto Raptors have clearly signaled to the rest of the league that they intend to be highly competitive right now, providing their young, emerging core with a proven closer and mentor who knows exactly what it feels like to carry the weight of expectations in Toronto. In the drastically shifting Western Conference, the Clippers have significantly bolstered their core defensive identity and secured an absolutely vital foundational piece of their future, sending a very clear, intimidating message to their divisional rivals that they are continually evolving, adapting, and aggressively upgrading their arsenal. For you, the dedicated fans who follow this sport religiously, this is the absolute pinnacle of off-season excitement. This is precisely why we constantly refresh our feeds for rumors, why we painstakingly analyze the complexities of the salary cap, and why we passionately debate the potential fits of various players. Because every once in a while, a chaotic day like today comes along and completely rewrites the entire script we thought we were reading. Russell Westbrook, bringing his relentless, unapologetic motor to the intense heat of South Beach. DeMar DeRozan, proudly wearing the Raptors jersey once more, coming back to the city that loves him unconditionally and unconditionally. And Peyton Watson, taking his burgeoning defensive brilliance and raw potential to Los Angeles to help usher in a brand new, highly anticipated era for the Clippers. It is poetry in motion. It is high-stakes, multi-million-dollar chess. And it is the beautiful, dramatic, unscripted theater of the NBA at its absolute, undeniable finest. Now, the real question is, how do you see all of this unfold when the ball is finally tipped? I want to hear from every single one of you watching this right now. Dive into the comment section below and let me know your most honest, unfiltered thoughts. Do you truly believe Eric Spoelstra is a coach who can finally unlock the most efficient, impactful, and winning version of Russell Westbrook at this late stage in his storied career? Is Westbrook the exact missing piece the Heat desperately need to push them over the edge and make another deep, grueling finals run? I want to know your predictions. And what are your raw emotions regarding DeMar DeRozan's spectacular return to the Toronto Raptors? Do you think this is purely a nostalgic, feel-good move designed to sell tickets and merchandise? Or does his veteran presence genuinely elevate Toronto back into serious, threatening playoff contention in a suddenly very crowded Eastern Conference? How exactly will his high-usage presence impact the continued, crucial development of their franchise cornerstone, Scottie Barnes? Tell me how you think those two will mesh on the court. And finally, I want your hottest takes on the Clippers. Just how high is the ultimate ceiling for Peyton Watson in Los Angeles? Will he quickly emerge as the premier lockdown wing defender in the entire league under their highly respected development system? And did the Clippers front office just pull off the absolute most underrated, impactful move of the entire offseason by stealing him away from Milwaukee and Atlanta? Let me know if you think Watson is the key to unlocking the Clippers' true potential. Your insights, your passionate debates, and your incredible basketball knowledge are exactly what make this community so incredibly special. Make sure you hit that like button right now if you enjoyed this extensive, highly detailed deep dive breakdown of today's massive news. If you are new here and you love in-depth basketball analysis, do not forget to subscribe to the channel and make sure you turn on those notification bells so you never miss out on our comprehensive daily coverage of all things NBA. The fundamental landscape of the league has been drastically altered today, and we will be right here every step of the way, to analyze every single consequence, every single resulting matchup, and every single fascinating storyline that inevitably emerges from this historic sequence of events. Thank you so much for tuning in, for spending your valuable time with me today, and for sharing in this incredible, never-ending basketball journey. Stay passionate. Keep analyzing the beautiful game, and I will see you all in the very next video for even more breaking news and top-tier basketball coverage.